What's going on, everyone? iLootGames here, back with another video. In this video, we are just going over the patch notes that just came out for the new season that actually launches tonight at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you don't know what time that is, it's about 8 hours from when this comes out. And I would go and learn about time zones if you haven't already. This is actually live from my stream earlier today, and I will be streaming the new season live right when it drops. So I hope you join me on Twitch. Oh, and also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that sub button and turn the notifications on and set it to all, because otherwise you will not get notifications when I release the leaks that are going to be coming out tonight. There's going to be a lot of leaks, and I'll probably be sharing them on my community channel where you can only see it in your feed if you have the notifications set to all. So appreciate your guys' support, and let's jump into this. Okay, let's go through this. New patch notes, updates to World's Edge. Hammond Robotic continues to take over World's Edge. They're up to something nefarious. They have taken steps to upgrade World's Edge with changes to the dome, drill site, and other points of interest. We already know about that. We got the new Legend, which we already know about. We got the new Volt SMG, which is a cool graphic. First energy-based SMG to see regular use in the frontier. The Volt allows its operator to fire a salvo of energy-based ammunition, decreasing drag and making it possible to hit multiple targets within a short window. That's interesting. Crafting system. We all know the RNG gods are not always in your favor. With Season 6, we will be introducing a crafting system. Find materials throughout the map via loot bins or material stations, then take these to a replicator. In the replicator, you'll find 8 different pieces of loot that you can craft. If you have enough materials, some of this loot rotates on a weekly basis or daily basis, but you'll always be able to see what's currently craftable in the game mode selector on the map screen. Read more on the crafting design here, so we'll check that out. Armamenta. With Season 6, we're introducing some big changes to the way armor works in game. First off, all armor in the game is now Evo Armor except for Gold Armor. When you find a white, a blue, or a purple armor on the ground, it's a pre-leveled Evo Armor. It can be picked up like normal and continue to be evolved, so that's pretty cool. Red Armor is not in the ground loot and can only be achieved through evolving. Gold Armor is not part of the Evo Armor track and is only found in rare locations as usual. Another interesting change is that the players spawn with a level 0 Evo Armor. If you get in gunfights right away and do enough damage, will automatically level up to a white armor, and you can continue to take it all the way to red. We think this will really help with a loot availability in the early game without requiring players to drop hot when they don't want to. With all the changes in Season 6, players now have an opportunity to level up their shields through damage, luck in ground loot, or through crafting. The last big difference is that all armor is coming down by 25 health. That means players with purple armor and gold armor have 175 health and not 200. Red armor now will get you 200 health, and you can no longer get 225 health. Our goal for this is to bring down the time to kill a bit in order to better reward strategic positioning. New damage requirements. To get a white shield, you have to do 50 damage. To get a blue, 125. Damage to purple, 250, and damage to red is 500. Introducing Hollow Sprays, our new way to emote in the arena by using Emote Wheel, and you can throw down these legend-specific calling cards to taunt bested enemies, or warn future challengers that you are not to be messed with. Sure. Battle Pass. So we see the reactive skin for the Scout. This season's Battle Pass includes the reactive Supersonic G7, Bloodhound Road Warrior, 5 new Hollow Sprays, and new Skydive emote, weapon charms, and more. Quest. Follow the story for Season 5 Quest, now in full color and in illustrated comics. What? That's weird. Collect treasure packs daily to earn your rewards, including crafting medals, challenge points, apex packs, and a whole new suit of gun charms. Legends. This patch, we're taking a look at the Recon class. A class built around information gathering should be powerful in a BR where knowing where the enemy is often the difference between life and death. But out of the 3 legends in the Recon class, Pathfinder, Crypto, and Bloodhound, one dominates in terms of in-game performance. It's the robot. The robot dominates. In this patch, we're mostly buffing Bloodhound as they needed the help the most. Crypto's changes are a mixed bag, as we also found one bug we had to fix that was giving Crypto a hidden advantage. Too long didn't read something. Sometimes when you thought you were hitting the drone, you weren't actually hitting the drone. Oh, really? That's interesting, because I feel like the drone takes 700 damage. So that makes sense now. Between the buffs to Bloodhound's ult and the new utility Crypto gains on his drone, we hope to see more diverse field of Recon legends in the game. Recon class. All Recon Legends, Bloodhound, Crypto, and Pathfinder can now use the survey beacons to get the ring location. Crypto can use his drone to instantly get this information. Pathfinder context. Giving all Recon Legends access to survey beacons makes Pathfinder less unique, and obviously we don't love that. For now, we're giving our friendly robot a small buff to his ultimate cooldown when he uses a survey beacon, but in the future we will take another look at Pathfinder to see what else we could do to make him feel more unique. His passive, each time Pathfinder scans a survey beacon, the total cooldown of his zipline gun is reduced. Numbers, the zipline cooldown reduced by 10 seconds each time Pathfinder scans a beacon. Up to 6 rings per game, means that total cooldown that can be from 120 seconds to 60 seconds. Bloodhound context. Bloodhound fulfills a very clear role in Apex Legends. They're the information gatherer and the tracker, but currently their performance leaves a lot to be desired. In this patch, we wanted to double down on their ultimate being their big moment of becoming a godlike tracker. Bloodhound already gives up some information to the enemy when they scan or use the ultimate and makes a noticeable sound, so we think there is room for a lot more power during the ultimate. Beast of the Hunt now gains even more duration when Bloodhound scores a knockdown or kill with the ultimate. Okay, that's really cool. Bloodhound Buff. Eye of the Allfather. During Beast of the Hunt, Eye of the Allfather now comes out twice as fast and has a much shorter cooldown. So that's really cool. So you can scan much faster. That's interesting. Numbers. Beast of the Hunt duration extends from 5 seconds to 15 seconds based on remaining duration. Eye of the Allfather cooldown during Beast of the Hunt is 25. It goes from 25 seconds to 6 seconds. Eye of the Allfather total use time during Beast of the Hunt from 1.8 seconds to 0.9 seconds. That's really interesting. Bloodhound sounds really good right now. Crypto is particularly interesting recon character. The amount of information he can gather for his team with a drone is very high, but the fact that he has to switch over to his drone leaves him vulnerable and often at great distance from his teams. Because he has no abilities without his drones, we figured there's room for even more power when he's in his drone. So for now, surveillance drone. Crypto can now activate respawn and survey beacons from his drone. That is huge. Doing so is instant instead of requiring a prolonged use. Made the surveillance drone slightly more consistent to hit, but also doubled its hit points. So now it has more freaking health. Wonderful. Drone EMP. EMP will now slow teammates caught in the blast even if they had no shields. Oh, that's no fun. This means that players who have used Revenant's death totem will also be slowed. Okay, so they kind of take away the ability to use the totem and the drone at the same time. So that is really annoying. Numbers. Surveillance drone is no longer 30 HP and now it's 60 HP. The surveillance drone hitbox size cube of edge is length 16. Now it's 24, so they made the hitbox bigger. Revenant. So we're happy to see that dropping the range restriction on Death Totem brought a lot more Revenants into play, but we've been watching a particularly frustrating combo play out on professional level playing involving a squad of Revenant, Wraith, and Crypto, where using 3 ultimates together resulted in 2 back-to-back runs at the enemy team they could do very little about. We've attacked part of that in the Crypto EMP change, but here's the other part aimed at making this play less overwhelming. Death Totem. For 2 seconds after being recalled to the Death Totem, players cannot use Wraith Dimensional Rift. Interesting. Octane Stim can now Octane can now use a stim while healing, but stim will not remove the slow you incur from healing. Well, what's the point of the stim then? That's kind of weird. Okay, well there's your Octane buff. Loba. What a horrible buff. That's the buff. What? How does that even make sense? Oh my god, poor Octane, dude. I feel bad for you guys. Loba context. While Loba was initially very popular, she's been struggling to keep up more recently, so we're tossing her a little buff. If you're curious why we've chosen to buff her ultimate rather than her tactical, we're seeing that she has decent combat success, but that teams with her on them don't win as much as, say, teams with Lifeline or Watson. This suggests to us that her out-of-combat utility, that is to say how she funnels loot to her team, isn't doing enough. So what they did is they lowered the black market cooldown. Wow. Okay, well, there's your buff for Loba. Black market cooldown is gone down from 3 minutes to 90 seconds, so it's dropped in half. Gibraltar defensive bombardment increased cooldown from 3 minutes to 4.5. And then they decreased Bangalore's from 4.5 to 3, which made a lot of sense. It did not make any sense that Gibraltar's was faster than Bangalore. So now they've swapped that. Watson's intercept pylon trophy system will now shoot down caustic barrels in flight if they would have landed inside the range of the trophy system. That's pretty cool. All right, so the loot, those are the buffs, chat. Those are all the buffs. Congrats. Congrats to those of you who got a buff like this huge octane buff. The loot, they added extended energy mags and turbo hop up. Update, precision choke removed. Good, thank God. Precision choke from loot pool, but it will now be integrated into the triple take and peacekeeper by default. Good, that's how it should be. And supply drops. The R99 is now in the supply drop. Damage increased from 11 to 12. Increased magazine size to 32. Ammo reserved 160. Congrats, R99's gone. All of you that are really good at the R99, it's gone. Our world's over. Out of the supply drop, they put the Devo into the normal loot. Clip size reduced back to original values. Cool. No changes to the Devo. It's the exact same Devo that you could get from the supply drop. Interesting. So everyone who complained about the Devo, get ready to complain about it even more. Fully kitted weapon swaps removed. These are the gold weapons. Now they have a gold Devo on the ground. They had gold massive, gold triple take, gold flatline, and gold volt. Updated loot. Sniper ammo increased pickup from 8 to 12. Increased stack size from 16 to 24. Energy ammo reduced amount picked up from 30 to 20. Weapons update. Hemlock reduced vertical recoil and burst mode, which is good because that was annoying. Slightly reduced recoil pattern on second and third shots. Burst mode time between bursts, they sped it up. So Hemlock has gotten a buff, which is nice. Charge rifle will now use 2 ammo per shot. Increase the mag size from 4 to 8. Okay. I don't understand. What did the charge rifle use before? 1 ammo per shot? And so if you double the amount it uses and double amount it holds in the same shit. Anyways, triple take buff. Increase fire rate from 1.24 to 1.4. Increase mag size from blah, blah, blah to that. Built the choke hop up into the weapon by default, and you can toggle that. Okay. PK built the choke hop up into that. We already know that. Spitfire improved recoil controllability. So the Spitfire has been buffed. Havoc updated Havoc with a new recoil pattern. Brand new pattern. Designer note, the Havoc's existing recoil pattern had a constant horizontal movement. This means it would either be too difficult to control if there was too much recoil, or far too easy to control if there was too little recoil. Updating to a new pattern, which is more consistent in style with existing recoil patterns. So I think we're going to see like a pattern that's closer to the 301 or something like that, which honestly is probably going to make it a lot easier to control, but we'll see. Mozambique increased clip size from 3 to 4. Fuck yeah, finally it's viable. P2020 increased damage from 13 to 20 or to 15. It needs to go to 20. Decreased hammer point damage multiplier from 2.7 to 2.35. This will leave hammer point P2020 damage unchanged in most scenarios. Increased mag size. Okay. Sentinel only requires 1 shield cell to charge if the player has the gold armor. Okay, interesting. Prowler slightly reduced vertical recoil in burst mode, increased horizontal recoil in automatic mode. So burst mode got a buff and automatic got a little bit of a nerf. Quality of life. Supply drops are now heirloom tier red to avoid confusion with fully kitted guns, which will remain gold. World's Edge received performance improvements, especially around the tree, the dome, the skyhook. Okay, so around the tree, my FPS would drop to like 90, which is very strange. And looking towards the center of the map, so they've improved that. Hopefully that starts changing for me. Alterations were made to the ring to prevent late zones from centering on unplayable terrain and reduce the predictability of the zone's pull. So the zone's gonna be a lot more random. You're not gonna have TSM going, it's going over here. Hell, no, it's not. You know, you're not gonna see any of that. Bug fixes. Fix an issue. Okay, so these are all just bug fixes, not really important. So chat, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? No 99, we got the Volt now. No longer normal armors, everything's Evo.
First recorded the DevStream. The initial timing for the Season 6 launch was on 8/18 at 10 a.m. like we would normally do on the patches. We've actually moved this one up a bit. So the actual release time that Season 6 will be live on all platforms is 10 p.m. PST today on 8/17.
10 p.m.
So keep an eye out for that. A little bit of different time for us this time, but let's get back to the show. I have brought a few familiar faces as well as some new ones. We're going to go into all the new stuff that's coming out tonight. Season 6 launches on all platforms, as well as go into some details of some of the bigger changes that are happening in our patch notes. Now, if you haven't been following along, we've released a bunch of new trailers to set up Season 6 shortly. Go ahead.
Oh, we got to look at some of the skins here. Okay. All right. Look, we got a little sneak peek at some skins here. I don't know if they did that on
those,
purpose.
and patch notes are live today too, so you can go ahead and pull those up as we talk about those
Cool,
later.
cool.
There's a lot to cover in this episode. So first off, let me introduce our great group of people that we have here. We've got Jason McCord, our design director, our regular here on the DevStreams. Thank you for being with us, sir. Manny Hadopian.
To build something in Apex that really encourages other more diverse playstyles to come in. Things that reinforce exploration and traversal. For perhaps the players that don't always play as Rambo, the more passive ones amongst us like me. So crafting is a system that's there to reinforce exploration. It's there to reinforce our loot curve. And the way crafting works is there are specific POIs around the map that have materials that you can pick up. And these materials are stored on your player. They're not part of your inventory, so they don't take up space in your backpack. And if you die, you keep them. So if you're respawned by your teammates, you come back with any crafting materials that you've collected. And you can go from point to point collecting these materials. You can take them to these things called replicators, which are basically 3D printers for loot. And depending on how many crafting materials you have, you can take them and use them to redeem loot that we have on rotation within the replicators. These could be things like equipment, they could be weapons, they could also be items that are pretty essential in a BR game, such as a med kit or ammo. So some of our items are in a weekly rotation, some of our items are in a daily rotation. Obviously, building a giant menu where you can craft every single piece of loot in the game isn't really feasible because it's hard to parse as a player and it's also difficult to do as a developer. So we created this rotation system where we would group loot items into categories and those categories would rotate. So things that we have on a weekly rotation are things like helmets, knockdown shields, backpacks, mobile respawn beacons. And things that we have on daily rotations are weapons and attachments that we've chosen specifically to match the weapons that we have on a daily rotation.
Okay, so those are the things where
so
you're going to collect
on one day
them
you might have an R301 on rotation with an anvil receiver and a 1-2x variable scope. On another day you might have the EVA. You might have an EVA on rotation with a double tap and a close quarters threat scope. And we try to pick these attachments to not only match the weapons that we have on daily rotation, but to also mesh well with other weapons that we have in the game. So, maybe I don't want an EVA, but I'm a really big fan of the G7 and the double tap is there. So I'm excited to engage with the system and craft something out of it, even though all of the things on the rotation aren't necessarily things that I want. And then finally, when it comes to rotations, anything that's on rotation during that day is not going to be spawning in the ground loot. So if a gun is on rotation and you want to play that gun, you have to engage with the crafting system in order to get
that's
it.
interesting.
If you followed the DevStreams, you remember Season 5. We didn't have a weapon in Season 5, and you remember me saying that we kind of thought the loot pool was starting to get a little dense, especially for weapons, and we didn't think that we needed one at the time, and that we were working on a solve, and Mark had the solve. So now we've got weapons, there's one weapon every game that can only be found in the crafting pool. And that sort of lets the vault come in cleanly and take up the place of a spot so there's not an extra weapon on the ground.
Very cool. And crafting actually is going to play into another big thing that we are changing within the meta for Season 6, and that's how armor is going to work. So McCord, you want to give us like a breakdown of like the armor changes that are going to be in Season 6 across all modes?
I am so excited about this. This is such a big change to the whole game. Drum roll, all armor in the game is Evo Armor. Everything you find on the ground is an Evo Armor. Now, you fly into the map with a level 0 Evo Armor on you. What this means is you can land, you can find a gun right away, you can start to get in a fight, you do 50 damage, your armor will level up automatically, and now you'll have a white armor. We think this will really help with sort of loot availability in the early game. And then if you find purple right away, sometimes right off the drop, you find a purple just right there, right? You'll see it, it'll be a glowing Evo Armor. You pick it up, you can swap it right out, and now you have a purple Evo Armor. You can continue leveling it up to red. Or if you find a blue, you'll keep leveling it up. And just as a couple clarifications there, gold is still on the map, still in the same rare sort of availability that it's always been. And there's no reds in the ground loot. So you can only get to red through Evo, through doing damage. So what's really exciting about this change is that we've now given you 3 different ways to get to good armor through all the different systems. So now you can land, you can get a weapon, you can start doing damage. You get in a really big fight without even having the chance to loot an armor, and suddenly you have blue armor because you've just done some damage. You just use some shield cells, heal it up, and you're good. You can still run into armor through the RNG, find some armor on the ground, get upgrades that way. And with crafting,
Treasure packs and the quests are going to work for Season 6?
yeah, so the treasure pack system is pretty much the same. Yeah, so you get one you still get one max every day. You take it back to the lobby, you get your reward track. And instead of telling a story through text now, we've transitioned all of that storytelling into full color comic pages drawn by the artists at Dark Horse, written by Manny's team. It really gives us a more visual way to tell the story, and it makes the story a lot more richer. You're not trying to imagine what the bar might look like or what the characters are doing on screen. It's awesome art. We really wanted to double down on telling a story with quests. That was sort of always the goal. And what you're going to notice is that there are no PvE missions this season.
What?
And just to touch on that a little bit,
No
I was trying to be
PvE,
pretty
just
clear about
comments.
that in Season 5, how the PvE missions they were an experiment. We kind of used what we had with the Prowlers to put in some new content to help tell a story. The quest has always been about a way to tell a story. So we wanted to make sure that we put our effort into all the things that really mattered this season. I think we're telling a better story with the storytelling is stronger, and some of the gameplay stuff kind of went into the other content for the rest of the season.
An opportunity to actually see the world outside of the games was always something we wanted to touch on, and we got to do that a little bit with the quests and the chapters, but with just text, you didn't really get the chance to see
They're
that.
there.
So
It's
now
just
you're
I'm
going to be able
zoomed
to see that. I mean, and Tom Castiello, who is a master at hitting those cliffhangers, I mean, every week you're going to get something that's going to keep pulling you in, and it's going to be really cool to see our fans react to this upcoming story and the visuals and the places that we've only imagined.
Fits well with the energy weapon, additions to this season.
Down and half the use time. So by use time, we mean the total amount of time during which you cannot shoot, heal, or reload. So that'll be much, much shorter. This means that during their ultimate, they'll be able to scan over and over and over. Additionally, for a few patches now, they've had a mechanic in the ultimate where if they get a knockdown or a kill, the duration of the ultimate will be extended. We fiddled with that a little bit more. We're making it so that if you are at very, very low remaining duration at 10 seconds or below, you're basically going to be set back to about 15 seconds of remaining duration. So get a couple of knockdowns and stay in that super scan mode forever.
Jeez, look how long
Those are
they're
just
in
the highlights of the recon changes. Like Jay mentioned, you can go on playapex.com and read all the other small changes.
Very cool stuff. And I think it'll take me as a Bloodhound player. It'll be interesting to kind
They
of
showed their
add
health bar
that
'cause they're
to
dummies.
my rotations and into my sort of thought process of like, oh, I can go like use the beacons now to sort of like find the next area on the map. So it'll be interesting to see how other players.
Huge buff
use that
to
addition to it.
Bloodhound.
It's going to be a little bit more interesting for Bloodhounds because you'll have to do some climbing to get to them.
Yep.
For Crypto, it's even easier because he just flies his drone right up to them and gets the ring.
Bocek, you've been very busy as well, my friend. So in the previous segment, we talked about
messy
the
in the
vaults
cup.
coming in, and that kind of.
All right, well, I think that pretty much clears all that up, right? I'm going to hop off for a little bit. I'll probably take like an hour or 2 hour break to go eat, and then we're going to play some more. Just enjoy the map and how it currently is right now before it is replaced. So I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I will see you in a little bit. Go eat, guys. Go eat. Let's charge ourselves back up for later, all right? All right, everyone. Take care.